The Dupree family is facing a huge challenge, a disaster that could destroy everything they have built. It seems that no storm could be more powerful than the pressure they face at this moment. Nicole and Ted's divorce is just the beginning of a series of terrifying events that the Dupree family must endure, while Chelsea's kidnapping adds to the tension. It all begins with a secret, with Leslie revealing that she is the daughter of Barbara, the original articulate and the heir to her fortune. This is a turning point that the Dupree family could never have foreseen, because it not only disrupts their peace, but also creates a tsunami of power, ambition, and betrayal. Nicole has always been a calm, intelligent woman with a deep love for her family. However, as secrets continue to spill out, as family relationships begin to crumble, anger gradually builds within her. She is not someone who easily explodes, but when her tolerance exceeds the limit, when the wounds cannot be healed, Nicole begins to think of revenge. She is well aware that carrying out the plot is not a difficult thing, especially with her experience as a psychologist. Nicole understands human psychology, grasps every corner of weakness, fear, and greed. And at this moment, she knows that the Dupree family needs a strong person to protect them from the challenges that are threatening. But will she become the greatest danger to them? The change in Nicole's mentality did not happen overnight. It was nurtured over time, through Leslie's constant intrusion into her life. At first, Nicole always tried to keep calm, finding ways to erase Leslie's mistakes and bad qualities. She hoped that with patience and love, Leslie could change. But nothing changed. Leslie was not only a troublemaker in her life, but also a real threat, destroying every step Nicole had tried to make. Leslie's appearance was an incurable wound, a thorn in Nicole's heart every day. When Leslie revealed herself as Barbara's daughter, an irreversible change occurred. This not only upset the order in the Dupree family, but also forced Nicole to face a painful truth. Everything she had thought was certain could all be shaken, and it was that revelation that ignited her anger. Those feelings were no longer just temporary feelings, but had become a part of her. Nicole began to be more aware of the plots, the plans that could be made to protect her family from the threat of Leslie and others. But what makes her so dangerous is the way she turns anger into a tool, a sophisticated means to carry out actions that are difficult for anyone to detect. Nicole is not only a psychiatrist, but also a cunning strategist. She understands the psychology of everyone in the Dupree family, especially the way each person can be manipulated. And she also understands that, while some people may seek to overthrow her family violently, she will do it meticulously, skillfully, leaving no one in doubt. Her schemes are not built on a foundation of anger, but also a mental war, a war she is winning every day without anyone knowing. For Nicole, revenge is not an explosion of emotions but a long-term plan, step by step, to bring the Dupree family to the brink of collapse. She began to use her work to penetrate the minds of those around her, reading them like an open book. This understanding made it easy for her to manipulate people, making them believe her lies. Nicole not only worked with obvious details but also exploited invisible factors, such as greed, fear, and the secrets that each person was hiding. She knew that with her work, she could easily change the way people thought and felt about events, making them go in the wrong direction without even realizing it. Nicole's transformation from a gentle, calm woman to a sophisticated revenger was not something she could completely control. Every step she took, every action she took could lead to an unpredictable consequence. And in this process, Nicole also began to face herself with the mistakes she had made in the past. Can she continue this journey without losing some of her humanity, or will she become a person she doesn't even recognize? The situation in the Dupree family is becoming more and more complicated, and every decision Nicole makes, whether it is a calculated move or an unseen action, can create great shocks. She is not only playing a dangerous game with her family, but also with the hauntings of her past. Every step she takes is a pushback or a step closer to the collapse of the Dupree family, and it all depends on her ability to control her emotions and actions in these extremely stressful situations. Nicole used to be a good daughter, always maintaining a calm, intelligent, and loving appearance towards her family. However, Leslie's blind attack on her life, along with the family secrets that are constantly exposed, gradually changes her. Underneath the calm exterior, Nicole begins to build a meticulous, calculated plan of revenge. Each of her moves was not a spontaneous outburst of emotion, but a careful preparation, every little detail, every psychological element that she had long understood. As a psychiatrist, Nicole understood human psychology, and she knew how to create alibis, choose the right time, and manipulate situations so that no one could suspect her. She started with small but important steps, building a network of events that only she knew how to connect them together. When Leslie was attacked, solid evidence gradually revealed Nicole's involvement. This was not a hasty or spontaneous action, but a meticulously and sophisticatedly executed strategy. These evidences were not simply peripheral events, but also psychological signs that Nicole had cleverly created, making it easy for her to escape anyone's suspicion. However, like any sophisticated plan, perfection is something that cannot be achieved forever. The strange signs in Nicole's behavior did not escape the attention of Anita and Vernon, who always cared and watched their daughter carefully. Although they knew Nicole to be a smart and calm person, they could not deny the obvious changes in her behavior. Anita and Vernon, who loved their daughter very much, began to notice the difference in Nicole's behavior. They no longer saw her as a good daughter who always strictly followed the family rules, but instead, they began to feel that there was something hidden, that there were things that Nicole did not reveal to them. Witnessing their daughter's change, especially when the strange signs became more and more obvious, Anita and Vernon began to suspect and felt that something was wrong. They decided to quietly monitor Nicole, but could they detect anything worrying? Will they be able to spot the changes in Nicole's behavior and stop the plots that are slowly forming in the dark? Nicole's gradual revelation of unusual signs is not something that is easy to recognize for those around her. She is too smart to leave obvious traces, and with her experience as a psychologist, she knows how to hide the truth. However, as her actions become more and more mysterious and calculated, it may be time for Anita and Vernon to face the truth. Will they be able to spot the signs and stop what is happening in the family in time? Or will they continue to see Nicole as a good daughter until the truth is painfully revealed? As things start to spiral out of control, does Nicole really understand the consequences of her actions? Or is she simply a woman blinded by revenge? Will her decisions lead to an irreversible collapse, not only for the Dupree family, but also for herself? Nicole, a psychiatrist, cannot help but be aware of the deep wounds she has suffered in the past, wounds that she may never have truly healed. However, the revenge she seeks is not the release she desires. It only entangles her further in a quagmire of her own making. As Nicole begins to carry out her plan, the loved ones around her begin to see her differently. Will Kat and Martin, who know Nicole better than anyone, notice the change in their mother's actions? Will they understand Nicole's reasons? Or will they feel hurt and betrayed by her actions? Can Kat and Martin see the pain and struggle inside Nicole? Or will they just see a cold, determined woman on a path of sin? As a psychologist, Nicole can explain her actions with the psychological theories she has learned, but in reality, her actions may not simply be the result of those theories. In fact, these are deep wounds that have not been healed, pains that she has not been able to resolve all this time. She cannot explain her feelings with theory, because in reality, it is just the revenge of a girl who has been hurt and yearns for justice. When everything falls apart, can Nicole go back and correct her mistakes, or will she continue on the path that has been predetermined? If everything goes smoothly, will Nicole feel complacent? Or will she realize that she is just a pawn in the game that she herself created? Nicole's decisions will not only affect the Dupree family but may also change her forever. Things are now unstoppable, and Nicole herself must face the consequences of her actions. Nicole's story is a complicated journey, not only finding the culprit in a tragic case, but also discovering deep wounds in the Dupree family, wounds that she and her loved ones have hidden for a long time. Nicole has always been proud of being a psychiatrist, someone who understands the human body and mind, but when she has to face the truth, she realizes that theoretical knowledge cannot help heal the wounds in her heart. Those wounds are not physical wounds, but deep psychological trauma that Nicole has had to live with for years without realizing. As the case begins to reveal dark secrets, Nicole must not only face Leslie, the crime she committed, but also face herself. She realizes that Leslie's actions were not the result of a coincidence, but that she herself had tolerated and even facilitated those behaviors. For a long time, she did not realize that her silence, her acceptance of Leslie's mistakes, was part of the process of creating this tragedy. Nicole was not only Leslie's victim, but also a contributor to the tragedy, because she herself allowed the problems to go unresolved, the family's secrets to surround and explode. The betrayal Nicole felt came not only from Leslie, but also from herself. She herself betrayed her family, betrayed the values she had always stood for. Nicole's story is not just about revenge, but also a reflection of the obsession and deep psychological problems that the Dupree family had to bear. Unhealed wounds, unresolved conflicts, gradually led to devastating decisions. Nicole went too far, caught up in the spiral of revenge, and in the process, she did not realize that she herself was gradually becoming the person she hated most. Nicole's decisions are no longer simply revenge, but have become actions that stem from deep wounds in her mind, wounds that she can never erase. And while she tries to seek justice, she is faced with a heartbreaking question. Will her actions truly help heal the wounds, or will they only deepen the cuts in her and her family's souls? Nicole cannot avoid facing the truth that she has not only betrayed her family, but also created wounds that cannot be healed in her own soul. She must face the fact that she has not been able to protect her family from the pain she caused, even though those actions stem from deep wounds that she cannot control. In her quest for justice and revenge, Nicole has lost the most important thing: her peace of mind and the peace of her family. Her story, though scheming and calculating, is a powerful reminder of the effects of an unhealed psyche and how past traumas can lead to devastating decisions. Nicole is not just a victim of circumstances, but also the author of this tragedy. She created the rift in the Dupree family, and now she must face the consequences of her actions. The deep wound she carries, whether from disappointment with Leslie, family betrayal, or the trauma of unresolved conflicts, have led her to a crossroads from which she cannot return. But can Nicole stop before it is too late? Can she realize that revenge is not the only way to heal? Or will she continue down the path she has set, only to hurt herself and those she loves? Nicole's story is a reminder of the power of psychological wounds and how they can shape a person's destiny.